Welcome to the major events of Afghanistan on Saturday, July 26. A new report from the United Nations High Commissioner shows that Afghans now make up the largest group of illegal migrants to Europe. UNHCR adds that the influx of Afghans to Europe has increased since the Taliban regained control of Afghanistan in 2021. More details in this report.
The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, or UNHCR, says that Afghans make up the largest group of illegal migrants entering Europe. The report, which was published late Friday on the United Nations Relief website, adds that in 2024, 42% of all illegal migrants who entered Europe by land or sea routes were Afghan citizens. According to UNHCR data, women make up 28% and children 41% of these migrants. This comes as, according to the report, from 2020 to 2023, Afghans were the second largest group of illegal migrants entering Europe after Bangladesh. UNHCR adds that the influx of Afghans into Europe has increased since the Taliban regained control of Afghanistan in 2021. The report further states that among Afghans who entered Europe illegally in 2024, 88% cited war and violence as the main reason for their migration. Of these, 48% pointed to general insecurity, while another 40% mentioned direct threats to their lives and families. Some Afghan migrants who tried to reach European countries through illegal routes say that due to security problems and threats in Afghanistan, they were forced to choose this dangerous path. One of them, who asked not to have his name mentioned in the report due to the sensitivity of the issue, said in an interview,
"Given that I serve in the military and am a military person myself, life was extremely unbearable, difficult, and incredibly dangerous for us. We and our families were facing serious security threats, so we tried by any means possible to get ourselves out of Afghanistan and seek asylum in other countries. The shortest route I found was to go to Turkey through smuggling. The first time I tried, I couldn't succeed in one go."
Another Afghan migrant, who is currently living in Iran and also wishes to remain anonymous for similar reasons, says, he talks about the difficulties of this journey.
"We were forced to come to Iran. From Iran, we went to Turkey. We borrowed money from people. I swear to God, as I said, from Turkey, we tried to go towards Greece. In Greece, the police caught us. They sent us back to Turkey. We were deported from Turkey. We were deported back to Afghanistan. We came to Iran again. The smuggling route has its own problems, its own miseries and everything else."
The UNHCR report goes on to say that between 2020 and 2023, the number of Afghan refugees and migrants who lost their lives while crossing Southwest Asia increased by 250%, rising from 308 to 1,078 people. According to this report, most of the deaths and disappearances involve Afghan refugees who, traveling along the Southwest Asia route, went from Afghanistan to Iran and then tried to reach Turkey in hopes of entering the European Union. UNHCR has added in its report that a large number of Afghans who wanted to enter European countries mentioned Germany as their final destination. This comes as Germany has recently returned 81 Afghan citizens who were found guilty by the courts of that country to Afghanistan with the cooperation of Qatar and in coordination with the Taliban, and has announced that this action will continue. After the Taliban returned to power in Afghanistan, a large number of Afghan citizens were forced to leave the country for various reasons, including insecurity, economic problems, unemployment, and severe restrictions on the education of girls above the age of 26. Some of these individuals have chosen illegal and dangerous routes to reach their destinations, a path that some managed to travel safely. But many others have disappeared or lost their life along the way.
Heartbreaking scenes of the arrest of young Afghan girls and women refugees in Pakistan have sparked reactions from human rights organizations. Human Rights Watch, expressing concern over the detention of young Afghan girls and women by Pakistani police, has called their forced deportation a direct threat to their lives and dignity. More details in this report.
The Refugee Rights Watch says it is deeply shocked by the painful scenes of the arrest of underage Afghan girls and women refugees. In a statement published on its X page on Thursday, July 24th, the organization emphasized that Pakistan must respect the rights of refugees and refrain from criminal treatment of displaced families. The organization, expressing concern over the arrest of young Afghan girls and women by Pakistani police, has described their forced deportation as a direct threat to their lives and dignity. Refugee Rights Watch has also published a video showing young Afghan girls and women crying and pleading as they are arrested by Pakistani police and forcibly put into vehicles. Meanwhile, a number of Afghans living in Islamabad, confirming the increase in arrests of Afghans in the city, say that underage children and pregnant women have been detained and deported. An Afghan woman in Islamabad, who did not want her name mentioned in the report and requested her voice be altered, said,
"I know someone who was taken by the police right now. She's in Haji camp. There's a girl. She's 15 years old. They've been there for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, when the police finished their investigation, they said these people are innocent. Then the regular police told them, you can release them if you want, or deport them if you want."
Similarly, Forsta Karazada, an Afghan migrant in Islamabad, stated that in the past week, arrests and deportations of Afghan families have significantly increased.
Among the migrants who were deported, there were families. They deported little children, infants, toddlers, all the underage kids, and there was even a family with small children and a pregnant woman. She was close to giving birth when they took her. They didn't even show her any mercy. They transferred her to the camp. After her condition became very serious in the camp, they took her to the Turkmen border and admitted her to the hospital. I saw this with my own eyes.
Meanwhile, Abdul Rahman Amiri, who was deported from Islamabad, Pakistan to Afghanistan last month along with his wife and young child after spending 7 days in Haji camp, says that during his detention, he saw underage girls without their families who had been brought to Haji camp for deportation.
We saw children under 18 who were deported without guardians. One specific case I witnessed was that there were 1 or 2 girls under 18, and I spoke with their father. Their father came to Haji camp 2 days later, but he came as a detainee even though he had a visa, but his 2 poor daughters didn't have visas. Still, they were all deported together.
The Refugee Rights Watch has also stated in its announcement that thousands of Afghan refugees in Pakistan are under severe pressure. Many of them are eligible for resettlement, but detention and deportation have seriously threatened years of hope in the process of addressing their situation. The Refugee Rights Watch has called on the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, the International Organization for Migration, and all countries with resettlement programs, including the United States, Canada, Germany, France, and Australia, to take immediate action on this matter. This organization has emphasized that now is the time for global solidarity. Refugees are not criminals, and instead of being pursued and harassed, they deserve support. Recently, as the process of extending residence visas for Afghans in Pakistan has come to a halt, the arrest and deportation of these individuals has intensified. According to information from the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, more than 300,000 Afghans have returned from Pakistan to Afghanistan during the current year.
In Kabul, families of women and girls have been forced to pay fines for the release of their relatives who were detained on charges of not wearing hijab in accordance with Taliban rules. Some of the detained girls and their families have told global television that, due to traditional customs and fear of warnings issued by the Taliban, they cannot raise their voices or speak to the media about this matter. More details in this report.
His whole family is scared. Maybe he even plans to run away and go somewhere else.
A resident of the Dashti Barchi area in western Kabul, who did not want to be named in the report due to the sensitivity of the matter, says that a newlywed 24-year-old woman from their neighbors was arrested 3 days ago by the enforcers of the Ministry for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice of the Taliban government on charges of not observing hijab and, according to him, other unclear reasons. He claimed that the bride's family was forced to pay a fine of 50,000 Afghanis for her release.
She was a bride, and they arrested her. After they took the money, they released her again. She is one of the neighbors. Most of the time, they arrest people for no reason. I don't go outside because I'm afraid. They took 50,000 rupees and let her go. He said he took her name one day. They took her away and only released her after taking 50,000 from her. But it brings shame on her. But the bride was wearing hijab too. Just because of her voice, the sound from the house.
This woman also claimed that the groom's family became very angry and forbade the new bride from speaking with others. She added that a few days ago, she and her sister went out to buy a phone, but because they were wearing colored hijabs, they were severely threatened by the Taliban's morality police. And now their family does not allow them to leave the house. Another resident of Kabul also claimed that his cousin's daughter was detained by the Taliban's Ministry for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice for 2 nights at a police station a few days ago, and now she is facing severe psychological and family problems. He, who did not want his name to be revealed, said,
"One of my uncle's daughters, who was always very strict about her hijab, even wore a mask. But we don't understand what the reason was that she encountered the Taliban patrol and was taken away. And since Afghanistan is a traditional society, my uncle's family doesn't want to talk much or discuss this matter. And since the day my cousin encountered the Taliban patrol, she spent 2 nights at the station and was released on bail. And since then, my cousin has been deeply hurt emotionally. She locks herself up at home. She doesn't want to go anywhere. It has had a very negative impact on her mental state."
It is worth mentioning that some of the detained girls and their families have said that, due to traditional attitudes and fear of warnings issued by the Taliban, they cannot raise their voices or speak to the media about this matter.
Meanwhile, the Afghanistan Human Rights Defenders Coalition has stated that some women who were recently detained by the Taliban have faced violence and abuse at home after their release. In a statement, this organization said that the detained women are held in custody by force for at least 3 days and nights. Abdullah Ahmadi, the spokesperson for this coalition, on Wednesday, July 24th, read part of this statement in a video published on the organization's X page.
Some women, after being released, also faced violence and abuse within their families. These incidents represent widespread and systematic violations of human rights, human dignity, and fundamental principles of the law, and are clear examples of arbitrary detentions and the use of power and exploitation of religious tools for financial gain and social repression.
Saifullah Arslankabar, the spokesperson for the Taliban government's Ministry for the Promotion of Virtue and Prevention of Vice, did not respond to questions. However, Khalid Zadran, the spokesperson for the Taliban Police Command in Kabul, has said that no woman has been detained by the Taliban in this city, and none of the women have been taken to security districts. These statements are at odds with the claims of many Kabul residents, especially women, as well as videos published of women being detained in the city, and reports from international organizations, including the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, UNAMA. Syed Musa, this year's top scorer in the university entrance exam with over 356 points, is calling on the Taliban government to create job opportunities for graduates. This request comes at a time when many educated young people in Taliban-ruled Afghanistan are complaining about unemployment, while the Taliban government has allocated specialized classes for clerics. More details in this report. Syed Musa is the top scorer in the 1404 Kanker exam. He calls on the Taliban government to provide job opportunities for those with higher education,
My request to the government is to create job opportunities for those who have higher education and are still unemployed, so they can use their talents to help advance Afghanistan.
This request comes at a time when many educated young people in Taliban-ruled Afghanistan are complaining about unemployment. They say that despite having bachelor's and master's degrees, they have not been able to find jobs. A law graduate from Maidan Wardak province, who did not want to be identified in the report due to the sensitivity of the issue, agreed to speak on the condition that their voice be changed.
When we were studying and going to university, we hoped to serve ourselves, our families, our country, and our people. I tried very hard to find a job, but there are no jobs for us. We can barely earn enough for our daily expenses, and even that is very difficult.
One of the women in Kabul, who introduces herself as Bali Asraf and holds a master's degree in English literature, says that from the first grade of school to the end of her studies she was always the top student, but now she is confined within the four walls of her home and has not reaped the rewards of her efforts. She too, for a similar reason, agreed to speak only if her voice was altered.
From first grade to 12th grade, I was always the top student. I was the top student in university as well, and I earned my master's degree. It was under very difficult circumstances, but today I am unemployed. I have not been able to use my academic credentials at all or find a job anywhere.
After the Taliban returned to power in Afghanistan, they banned girls from studying above the 6th grade and prohibited women from working in many government and non-government offices. These criticisms are being raised at a time when Abdul Salam Hanafi, the administrative deputy of the Taliban's prime minister's office, recently stated that Afghanistan currently needs skilled and capable professionals in various sectors. The national television under Taliban control wrote on its website on Thursday, November 23rd, that Hanafi made these remarks during a ceremony honoring the top 10 participants in the 1404 religious school entrance exam. The report goes on to say that Abdul Salam Hanafi, referring to this need, has called on young people to strive to gain expertise in various fields through knowledge and learning, and to meet the needs of their country and people. However, the Taliban government has recently carried out widespread staff reductions in the offices under its control. According to informed sources, this reduction has been said to be between 20 to 30%. In these investigations, a large number of experienced professors from public universities, both women and men, have been dismissed from their jobs. It is worth noting that the Taliban government is accused of appointing people close to them, who have only studied in religious schools, to many government offices instead of qualified and professional individuals. This is an accusation that Zabihullah Mujahid, their spokesperson, has repeatedly denied. Since the Taliban returned to power, unemployment in Afghanistan has increased. Many young people, hoping to find work in a better future, have migrated to other countries through illegal means and by enduring many hardships, but even though they face detention, imprisonment, deportation, and numerous other problems. End of veneers.